Welcome to the 6th best series from the 4th best text-to-speech channel on YouTube. Here's what happened in the world of gaming this month. The E3 Entertainment Expo, long revered as Gaming Christmas, where nearly all new game announcements were made, has been cancelled for the 3rd year in a row. The event, long known for its eardrum-shattering noise, endless list of game announcements, stream of anticipated trailers, and new console reveals, will once again not have a physical presence this year, owing to the risk posed by COVID-19. Not only this, but it seems as if the digital event is also unlikely to go ahead, as developers and publishers have become far less enthusiastic about spending the insane amounts of money to book a spot at E3 when they could otherwise just host their own events for a fraction of the cost. With the event cancelled 3 years in a row, commentators have questioned whether E3 is even needed in today's gaming landscape, as it's already been taken over by other events, such as the Summer Games Fest. The king is dead. Long live the king. Moving on, CES 2022 treated PlayStation fans with a first look at its upcoming PSVR headset, which confirmed many hopeful rumors that it would be a significant upgrade from Sony's first headset launched in 2016. To cut through the marketing bullshit, the headset will feature 4K HDR, a 110-degree field of view, and be able to reach between 90 and 120 frames per second. PSVR 2 will also come equipped with foveated rendering, meaning the headset will track the user's eyeball, which will allow it to specifically target the render performance to where the player is looking. The headset also features inside-out tracking, meaning your movements will be tracked without the need for an external camera, and a built-in motor will also provide haptic feedback to replicate in-game actions, such as your character's pulse or objects passing by your head. It's still entirely unclear how much the headset will cost or when it'll be available to the public. However, it's rumored to be launching by the end of this year, and with a price point similar to the first iteration, which was $400 on release day. Meanwhile, Stalker 2 has been delayed until December. Xbox Game Pass breaks 25 million subscribers, and an Italian Senate meeting was interrupted by Final Fantasy Rule 34 content. Just like Camelot, Italy is a very silly place. Titanfall fans have faced a particularly rough 2021, with no sequel in sight, and a hacking infestation, which had more twists and turns than a shitty soap opera. This year, however, fans of Titanfall 2 have something to truly celebrate, as after a long stretch of the developers doing absolutely fuck all to improve the game, the community stepped in like Thanos and proclaimed, "Fine, I'll do it myself." After a long and arduous process, fans of Titanfall 2 can now download the Northstar mod, which allows players to circumvent Respawn's hacker-infested servers altogether. Not only this, but Northstar also lets players create their own game modes and content altogether, which is assisted with a server browser to jump into any kind of match they please. Northstar has barely been out a month, and already players have created an infection game mode, given pilots the ability to use Titan weapons, and added entire Titan classes from the campaign. Titanfall 2 was launched in 2016 to critical acclaim, but has often been overshadowed by more established franchises, crippled by a lack of post-release content, and made unplayable by persistent hackers. However, it's hoped that the Northstar mod can usher in a new golden age for the series, even when it often appears to be neglected by its developers. To Bob the Bob and all the other contributors to the project, nice work, pilots. Krafton, the publishers of PUBG, have filed a lawsuit against mobile developer Garena, as well as Apple and Google, over 2 games believed to be copied from the original title. Krafton are seeking damages from the 3 companies for what it describes as rampant willful copyright infringement through the release of the games Free Fire and Free Fire Max on Apple and Google App Stores. According to Krafton, both titles copy numerous aspects from Battlegrounds, including an exact recreation of the game's opening airdrop, weapons, armor, objects, locations, materials, and textures. Free Fire and Free Fire Max are both free to download, however, offer a number of available in-app purchases, which Krafton claims has made Garena hundreds of millions of dollars, much of which has also landed in the coffers of Apple and Google for hosting these games in the first place. PUBG earned a total of $2.8 billion in 2021, making it one of the highest grossing mobile games this past year, and currently holds the 6th position for the highest grossing mobile game of all time, with over $7 billion earned since its release in 2018. Scholars are expected to debate for years to come on whether there's less injustice for PUBG having their game copied, or the fact that a mobile version of a mediocre battle royale made $7 billion in the first place. Meanwhile, 2 LA police officers are fired after ignoring a robbery to catch a Snorlax in Pokemon Go. Dying Light has 500 hours of content if players hate themselves, and the Halo Infinite multiplayer sees a marked drop in its player base. One of the most significant stories this month was the biggest acquisition in gaming history when Take-Two Interactive acquired social game developer Zynga for $12.7 billion. Best known for mobile hits such as Farmville, Mafia Wars, and Wizard of Oz slot machine game, the acquisition is unlikely to affect anyone who actually gives a shit about video games, but will likely go a long way to thicken the revenue stream for Take-Two Interactive for decades to come. However, Take-Two didn't even hold the record for 2 weeks before Microsoft went full Ultra Instinct when it announced its acquisition of Activision Blizzard for a staggering $68.7 billion. For reference, the tallest building on Earth was constructed for $1.5 billion, and both Marvel and Star Wars were sold to Disney for $4 billion each. The price tag is so big that it exceeds the annual GDP of most countries and is nearly half the cost of the International Space Station, which is widely considered to be the most expensive object ever made by man. However, when considering the Call of Duty franchise alone makes around $7 billion per year, it shouldn't be long until Microsoft starts seeing a serious return on their investment. Viewers who have watched this series any time in the last year will be acutely aware of the toxic workplace culture of Activision Blizzard, including a number of harassment scandals and absolute dogshit mismanagement by CEO Bobby Kotick. News of the acquisition led to the company's share price rising by nearly 30% in a single day, as the company now has the backing of the biggest sugar daddy in the games industry. Call of Duty, Warcraft, Overwatch, StarCraft, Hearthstone, Candy Crush, and even longtime PlayStation exclusives like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon are now wholly owned by Microsoft and join the ever-growing list of in-house studios purchased by the company in recent years. Viewers who were hoping to see the removal of Bobby Kotick might have to wait a little longer, as his firing before the deal is concluded would result in a golden parachute of around $300 million to be awarded, on top of what would already be an insane bonus for taking the deal in the first place. Remember kids, if you be an absolute scumbag of a human being, delay the development of Overwatch 2 for some dumb shit mobile projects, lay off hundreds of people, and foster a workplace culture so bad that someone literally kills themselves, you too can get hundreds of millions of dollars for someone else fixing your mistakes. In terms of what this means for consumers, it's currently uncertain which franchises are likely to remain available to PlayStation players, as Microsoft have already made it clear that previously acquired franchises like The Elder Scrolls and Fallout will be exclusive to Xbox and PC going into the future. On the other hand, it's likely that already established franchises like Call of Duty will remain multi-platform, as exclusivity won't be worth sacrificing such a huge number of sales. The real winner for this acquisition is almost certainly Game Pass subscribers, as the prospect of having access to every single one of these franchises day one for $10 a month is going to make the Microsoft service too enticing to turn down. In an industry slowly moving toward a subscription model, Microsoft has an unprecedented head start, and it wouldn't be surprising to see more of these large-scale acquisitions dominate headlines going forward. As it stands, the deal isn't yet finalized, as Microsoft still has some antitrust hoops to hurdle to make sure they're not going to become a monopoly. However, the consensus so far is that the deal should go through without much trouble. It's currently unclear what this means for the games themselves, and whether Master Chief will be joining the Overwatch roster, or if Captain Price will be a special unit in Age of Empires. However, Xbox have usually been known to take a hands-off approach when it comes to their studios. At the end of the day, and all games aside, the most important thing from this acquisition is the hope that Microsoft can cure Activision Blizzard of its toxic culture and let the talented developers thrive in a safe and supportive environment. In terms of new releases, January saw the release of Rainbow Six Extraction, Pokemon Legends Arceus on Switch, and God of War and Monster Hunter Rise for PC. February is set for a great month of game releases, including Dying Light 2, Sifu, Destiny 2, The Witch Queen, Elden Ring, and Horizon Forbidden West on PS5. Viewers wanting to see news outside of the world of gaming can expect a full video before the end of the month.